Today we've got the Aorus 16X on hand from Gigabyte, and today's video is sponsored by Intel for us to take a deeper look at their Intel Core 14th Gen i7-HX series processor that is powering this Aorus 16X. Because these new 14th Gen processors have a lot to consider. The specific model that's in this Aorus 16X is the Intel Core i7 processor 14650HX. That gives us 16 cores, 24 threads, a 5.2 gigahertz max clock speed with 30 megabytes of Intel Smart Cache. And one of the nice things about Intel's Core 14th Gen i7-HX series processors is that they're now enabled to support Intel's Application Optimizer, or known as Intel APO for short, which has been developed to give an added boost to select games by optimizing how the processor interacts with those games. Previously, this was exclusive to desktop chips, but now it's here being supported on this Aorus 16X. But there's also a lot more specs under the hood of this laptop. There's 32 gigabytes of DDR5 5600 megatransfers RAM, a 1 terabyte SSD, it has an RTX 4070 laptop GPU, and one of the highlights of the Aorus 16X itself is this screen. It's a 16-inch IPS 2560 by 1600, so it's a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, 165 Hz refresh rate display with a 91% screen to body ratio, meaning that this 16-inch screen takes up a much smaller footprint than you're used to seeing on a laptop of this size. And it has a 99 watt-hour battery under the hood, and when you combine that with Intel's hybrid architecture, you're getting a lot of usage out of that large battery. Because Intel's hybrid architecture works by giving you P cores, which are meant to be used for gaming and heavy-duty workloads that you're trying to do in professional applications, and then the E cores are optimized for things like performance per watt, and help to make sure that you're optimizing your battery life while you're doing background processes on those E cores. And that's all handled in the background without you having to worry about it thanks to Intel's Thread Director. So heavy-duty specs in the chassis, a screen to match the hardware, and then a battery that is fairly beefy. And the Aorus 16X also has a lot of I/O for you to utilize. On the right-hand side, you have a USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 2 port, a Type-C 3.2 Gen 2 port that supports DisplayPort 1.4, a microSD card reader, and an audio combo jack. On the rear, this is the first time I've ever seen this on a laptop anywhere, it has an RGB projection of the Aorus logo type, so you get just a little bit of a projected RGB on whatever surface you're putting the laptop down on. But then on the left-hand side, you have the power in, an HDMI 2.1 port, another USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 2 port, and then a Type-C port that supports Intel's Thunderbolt 4, which means it supports a bunch of protocols like USB 4, DisplayPort 1.4, and Power Delivery 3.0. But the great thing about Intel Thunderbolt 4 is that with a single cable, you can connect it to a Thunderbolt 4 dock that then allows you to connect to all of your peripherals and display, so that you can easily set the laptop down at your workstation, docking station, plug in that Intel Thunderbolt 4 cable, get everything going in a work environment, and then unplug it and take it about your business. Or you can even hook it up to an external GPU. But I got ahead of myself because still on that left side of the Aorus 16X is a 1 gigabit Ethernet port. But thanks to the fact that this is one of Intel's latest laptops, it does support Intel Wi-Fi 7 as well as Bluetooth 5.4. And Intel Wi-Fi 7 is incredible. It allows you to get speeds over 5 gigabits per second on a wireless network. I'm actually personally really excited for Intel Wi-Fi 7 on all of my devices because that means that I'm gonna start having to upgrade my network infrastructure because it is not ready to handle that type of speed. I only run single gigabit Ethernet, so we're getting to the point where wireless infrastructure could override my need for having things hardwired in terms of bandwidth capacity. But speaking of capacity, I put this Aorus 16X with its Intel Core 14th Gen i7-HX series processor to the test, played a few games that I like to mess around with, as well as tried out some of my professional workloads to see exactly what it can do. So I tested everything at the resolution that you get with the Aorus 16X. So that's 1600p thanks to its 16 by 10 aspect ratio, and everything was tested at high settings. In Counter-Strike 2, we managed to average 155 FPS. In Hitman 3, it was 113 FPS, and in Assassin's Creed Mirage, we managed to get 84 FPS. And again, this is at a resolution that's higher than your traditional 1440p desktop monitor. And then for professional workloads in Premiere Pro, I have this 11-minute 4K render that I like to test out every single time I get a new machine. And this Aorus 16X managed to render that video out in 4 minutes and 54 seconds, over twice as fast as real-time playback. And then we also put it through the Blender benchmark. In the monster scene, we averaged 137. In junk shop, we had 85. And in the classroom scene, we managed 61. I just want to pause for a moment to just highlight how wild it is that in a laptop that you can now get here in 2024, we're hitting numbers in games and in professional applications on hardware that is so small and compact that I would have dreamed would have been in a very, very super high-end desktop back when I started this channel in 2015. I started this channel barely being able to render out 1080p videos on what I thought was a fairly capable gaming desktop. And now I'm here rendering out a heavily edited 11-minute 4K video in twice as fast as what it takes to watch the video in real time. My first laptop was USB 2.0 speeds at 480 megabits per second, and now Intel Wi-Fi 7 can go over 5 gigabits wirelessly. You're not even physically connected anymore. And that's a testament to the work that Intel has done with their Intel Core 14th Gen i7-HX processors. You've got the hybrid architecture that works seamlessly to provide you power and efficiency whenever you need either one of those. You have the high clock speeds. You have Intel Thunderbolt 4, allowing you to have physical connections that can give you an external GPU or get you a docking station that only relies on one cable. Intel Wi-Fi 7 providing blistering speeds. And all of that's wrapped up into a package that's great for work as well as for play. So I just want to say thank you again to Intel for sponsoring this video, for providing the Aorus 16X laptop from Gigabyte. And you can check out the latest Intel Core 14th Gen i7-HX processors at Newegg, linked in the video description. Big thanks again to Intel for sponsoring today's video.